Alright, so if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing here? Go back to the beginning of my video where, guess what? I showed you the entire thing. So yeah, Pokemon Sun and Moon information finally dropped. We finally get to see the starters, we finally get to see the legendaries, and the region. Although, right now, I'm honestly saying that's not the full region, that's just a portion of the region. Either way, today I wanted to give you guys my opinions on the three starters and the 2 legendaries and what we'll be seeing out of this region. Alright, so let's start off with Rowlet. Category, Grass Quill Pokemon. Type, Grass Flying. Ability, Overgrowth. Height, 1 inch. Weight, 3.3 pounds. So, he's an owl, and he will evolve into, I'm assuming, what is a copy of Noctowl or something like that. But honestly, he is what is the Gen 7 equivalent to the cute Pokemon. Pretty much, he's taking what every cute Pokemon has ever been and putting it into one little cute little ball. Literally, his little tie. That is amazing, and probably what's getting everyone's attention is his bow tie. And he's not overly cool, in my opinion. He does have a new move, and I think he's, like, original to the move, because in consideration we have Ember and, I think it's Bubble Beam, whichever one does the 40 attack. So, they needed something that was 40 attack to go with that, so they decided to give Rowlet something similar to that, so now he's got a new attack, and I can't remember what it's called. But it is pretty cool, and it has a little leaf fly up when it hits somebody. So yeah, that's Rowlet. Sorry, I had a little technical malfunction with my mic. It wasn't plugged in. Alright, so let's move on to the fire starter, Litten. Literally, he is a meme. So lit. So lit. Litten. Alright, category, Fire Cat Pokemon. Type, well, fire. Ability, Blaze. Height, 1.4 inches. Okay. Weight, 9.5 pounds. Sorry, I don't know why I said weight. So, I look at Litten as the equivalent to the cool Pokemon. He really embodies that I'm a cool guy look. Whenever he has that smug little look in his face. His color scheme's amazing. Honestly, he looks the best in my opinion. He is going to be my pick so far. I haven't seen anything with the evolutions and stuff because they haven't come out yet. But honestly, he's pretty cool. So like in his description, he licks himself and it's got like an oil on him. So whenever he licks himself, he gathers up fur and then that's how he shoots out the fireball. And that's pretty cool. So that's Litten. Alright, so now we got the last one. Poplio. Hopefully I'm saying this right. He is the sea lion Pokemon. His type, water. Ability, Torrent. He's the same height as Litten, and he weighs 16 pounds off the start. So clearly he's the biggest out of them all, or I should say the fattest. But, he's not really all that cool. He embodies a clown. I don't like clowns. I really don't. I think clowns are creepy, and they really, he fits in with the clown thing. He's a seal, right? So he goes around on the circuses and stuff like that. Like, my friends and I were kind of just talking about it earlier. We're thinking that when he evolves, he's gonna have like one of those beach balls, and he's gonna roll around on that, and it's gonna be funny. But honestly, he doesn't have any redeeming qualities. He's the equivalent to the bad Pokemon. We finally hit that point where we have one bad Pokemon for each generation. We have the cool, we have the cute, and unfortunately, he fits in the bad. I don't normally pick water types, and I'm probably not gonna do it this time, especially even if he boots out some really cool evolutions later on. He's just not all that cool. Although I will share my opinions on what their shinies should look like. Hopefully you guys like those. So, that's Poplio. Alright, so now let's move on to the game covers, or the legendaries. So, we finally got to look at the Sun and Moon Pokemon. And these guys, like, I can see why they're the Sun and Moon Pokemon. The Sun Pokemon, we don't know his name yet, we don't know his typing, we know nothing about him, all we have is design. And he is clearly a better-ass lion. He is so awesome. He, basically, if you look at his face, and when he puffs out his mane, it's the sun. And his color scheme, his design, honestly, it's the most badass legendary Pokemon we've seen in years. Honestly, I give him a 10 out of 10 on awesome scale so far. Don't know anything about him, I'm just purely doing that on design. If I do have to pick a type, I'm going to stick with Fire Fairy. I'm probably going to change that eventually, but right now I'm going with Fire Fairy. And then we move on to the Moon Pokemon. I see the Moon. I can see the Moon when he does his solar flare thing in the trailer. He's really cool looking. Although I'm not going to pick him. I'm certainly going with Sun. I'm going with the game Sun only because that lion is beyond awesome. And I envision a bat for this one, so I'm going with Fairy Bat. I honestly think they're trying to make more fairy types with these games as if it's more essential. So I'm honestly going to keep Fairy Dark, or he's just going to be straight up fairy again, like Xerneas or whatever his name is. He's pretty, like, he is going to be fairy. I think both of them are going to be fairy with the attributes of their sun and moon. So dark and light, so fire and dark type, or hell, he might even be ghost or psychic. But I'm going to stick with the sun Pokemon being fire fairy, which pretty much means he's immune to everything, and the moon Pokemon being dark fairy or fairy dark or ghost or psychic. It really doesn't matter. They do look badass, but I'm certainly going with sun because I prefer the idea of a lion finally being extremely cool. That is the sun and moon Pokemon. Alright, so my friends and I were talking about the island itself. It's literally Hawaii, and it looks good, but it looks really small. It really does. I can see the Navy base, I can see the cities, like, I can see the volcano, like, yes, it looks good, it looks tiny. What I think right now is what we're seeing the world map. So it looks tiny in comparison, like all the landmarks are showing, and those are their own little towns. I'm imagining that it will get bigger when we actually get inside of it, so like instead of it being like really tiny, it's like ant view. I'm just going that it does look a little small right now, and that's all they've given us. But if it's based off of Hawaii, like it's supposed to be called Aloha, something like that, like it's supposed to be basically they're ripping off Aloha, which I'm okay with, sounds good. But I'm honestly thinking that if you see this little ring around the volcano, something's gonna be there. I assume something's gonna be there. But yeah, I think there's gonna be more to it than just this. It is a little small right now, and I admit that. It doesn't look very appealing quite yet. Honestly, if it is based off Hawaii, we're going to be getting more islands. Like, my friend was telling me today that there are 3 mainlands and then there's a lot of mini islands. So I'm assuming that this isn't the end of the lines for the islands. I'm just sure that if it's going to be based off of Hawaii, they're not going to just scrum off and do one island and done. Like, if you've known anything but Pokemon, they're not just going to stop at one and done. That's just how it is. Hopefully, with this, it gets bigger and it won't look as bad. Like, I can see where we're going to start the game from. I can honestly see it. It's on the very top, or I guess you could say the very center. And it looks like that's the priority of this island, is that it's going to be a really tiny little community with one big city, and it goes around, and then you go on a boat somewhere else. So hopefully it gets better, but, you know, right now, I guess just what we got. Alright, so on the screen, I have Rowlet, and what I think his shiny form is going to be. So normally with Pokemon that are in the grass-type department, they try to make their shiny seem to be more... Well, they don't really match up. They don't match up with their characters at all. So with this one, I've decided, hey, let's tone down his colors just a little bit, make him so that he's not, like, pure, like, orange or bright yellow, and he's more of an autumn thing, and his green leaves have become red. So now he is a autumn Pokemon. He looks better. He looks as if he belongs in the pile of leaves you rake up. I honestly like it. It makes him look better. If I saw him in a certain time of year, this is what I want to see. I wouldn't want to see a green leaf kind of thing, and like his attack color could change everything so that it's not green, it'd be red. So it would look pretty cool. And honestly, I wonder what you guys' opinion on it, and that's Shiny Growlithe, my edit. So what's unfortunate about Popplio, or whatever his name is, it's very hard for him to look good with the design they gave him. I really don't like it. So I tried hard to like stick with the natural themes of the water Pokemon, and notice how most of them either turn pink or purple. So when I was doing the editing for him, I didn't like any colors with him. Like red didn't look good, green didn't look good. Blue, honestly, I swapped out his nose from pink to being blue, and pretty much everything stayed the same, like with the ring thing around his neck and his finger points. They're still blue. They stayed the same. I didn't like changing those because those looked fine. Those are the one part on him that I did like. Then I changed him to purple. Purple actually looked good on him. I like what my design is here. I like how he looks now. Sure, it's not like the best thing ever. I'm pretty sure someone else can make a different color. Like, maybe this is the first time a green might actually work for a shiny. I like Espeon green. You know, just I looked for colors. I tried to make this thing look cooler, but you know, it's kind of hard to do when the Pokemon in general just, you know, doesn't appeal to me. So that's Shiny Popplio, or Popplio. Popplio? Papapo. Papapapapo. Alright, so now let's move on to Litten. So, Litten, I feel like if they wanted to do something cool with Litten, because dark black and yellow, they mix really well. I like the color design they have for Litten right now. I wouldn't change anything until we got to the shiny point. Because if they did the lazy ass shit they normally do for fire Pokemon, his eyes are going to stay the exact same color of yellow, but they're going to change either his little lines around his face and the red parts. Basically, all the red parts are going to change to yellow or orange, and that sucks. What I really want to see is a blue fire Pokemon similar to Ember Pig or whatever his name is from Gen 5. Like, that blue color scheme is the only reason I liked collecting Generation 5 Pokemon, because their shinies are the bomb. Like, looking at that Pokemon, his blue, like, I imagine flames coming off of later evolutions of Litten, and their blue fire. Honestly, it would look the bomb. I love fire. I like blue fire. It like embodies a more powerful fire. Like, you ever watched Avatar? You know how they have like the red fire, and then they have lightning, and then there's blue fire. Blue fire is the epitome of a hot flame. You ever welding with torch? Like, blue. The blue eyes that I've chosen here are darker blue, and he's got that little blue inside of his reticle, and they look really good. They like I like the blue. I like the baby blue for his lines, and when he gets better into the evolutions, that blue stays the same or maybe gets a little darker, and the eyes also change to a darker blue. Either way, I love the blue I've given him. I honestly feel like that the blue is good. The dark doesn't have to change. I did screw up a little bit on my editing, and I do apologize. The editing made the black look a little bit bluer, but you know what? It looks okay. It doesn't look terrible. So that's Shiny Litten. Just to summarize the types up a little bit, we know Rowlet's going to stay with Grass and Flying. I'm saying Litten is going to be Fire Dark or Fire Ghost. I'm not going to explain why. He just looks like it. And with Poplio, or whatever the hell his name is, I'm going to say he's going to stick with either just stay water or go water, ground again. He just looks like it, and that's just my honest opinion. Alright everybody, I'm Soul Hero. Hey, and actually, I'm actually starting a new channel. It's called Super Umbreon. Go search it up in the next week or so. Soul Hero is out.